Hello, Lena, and welcome. Let me know if the audio is coming through okay. Hopefully you had a chance to check your own audio equipment. I'll go ahead and activate your mic since you're the only one here. And it is activated, so if you'd like to introduce yourself, feel free to do so.
Oh, yeah. Well, just could you please type in the chat box if you can hear me, one or something, because when you switch your microphone off, it suddenly becomes very, very quiet. Okay, so I'm not talking to myself then. Well, so my name's Elena. I'm originally Bulgarian, and I've been in the UK for, well, just over a year and a half. I'm working on my dissertation. Or pretending to be working, and well, my background is basically related to teaching English as a foreign language or content courses in English back home at my university in Bulgaria, and also I've been a teacher trainer for 10, 15 or so years. And my areas of interest, well, anything related really to methodology of teaching English, especially computer-assisted ICT, online teaching, and well, I guess I'm a curious cat, so anything and everything in this area. Well, just a very brief introduction. Hello, Priscilla. Nice to have you here. Off from me, I'm muting the microphone. What about you, Benjamin?
Great. Thank you, Lena. Hopefully you can hear me a little bit better. I made some adjustments here, so let me know if it's a little bit better. Yeah, I teach at a Mexican public university, and I teach pre-service English language teachers. So I teach undergraduate students who are preparing to be to enter the field of TESOL, or teaching English to students of other languages. And I'm currently doing a doctorate as well, and in the final, I guess, year or so. I should finish in February of 2012. And I'm looking at investigating teachers' professional development through personal learning networks. And so I'm looking at development among English teachers. And so I'll be hopefully starting my research here in a couple of months. And I decided to create this online TESOL Talk here in WizIQ as a way to start coordinating and discussing issues and problems out in the field of TESOL. And I work with a lot of teachers at the university as well, so my hope is also to start creating opportunities for our teachers in our university to also coordinate and start working with other teachers from around the world too. So this is our first session, and really the idea of this session is to try to keep it as open as possible. I have a few things that I have to talk about, but more importantly, the idea of these sessions is to generate a discussion really based on the attendees about what they're facing, whether it's face-to-face or whether it's an online course. But again, just to start generating a conversation about different issues that we face in our field. So that's a little bit about me, and a little bit as to why I decided to create these sessions. And so I'll go ahead and pass the mic to Priscilla.
Priscilla, go ahead and maybe introduce yourself. I know you a little bit through past sessions.
Okay,
go ahead.
Hey, Ben.
Go
Hey,
ahead.
Nina. I am excited about what you're doing, and I think Elena just alluded to the fact that she's on her dissertation, you're on your dissertation, and I've also taken the year off. I've been off for a year now working on my dissertation. Supposedly should finish December 2011. Here's where my problem or my challenge is. I don't know exactly how to frame all that I have in my ideas. So my area is technology, a catalyst for the English language learner, conversational English comprehension. And that's a little bit of a mouthful. And what that means to me is I want to research whether students can actually learn English online and actually be able to comprehend what they're learning, or speak it rather. I'm not looking for grammar. I'm not looking for, well, I'm not looking for grammar. I'm definitely not teaching grammar. I just want to find out, is there a method, is there a true method to learn how to develop conversational English using online resources? So it's something like a catalyst for online learning. Here's my thinking. The fact that we're talking conversational English, that I am in America, and Americans can now better utilize the tools of technology to help individuals learn English, how to have conversational English online. I've been teaching for 15 years. I'm off now. Hopefully won't have to go back in 2012, but there's a good possibility that I may have to go back in 2012. So while I am trying to decide or figure out how to go, or may even change my direction yet again, I'm just floundering, but having fun, learning about the technologies online, especially with IQ, and going into forums and seeing what other people are doing. And I don't know, I think I learn more when I hear other people ask a question and I get an answer, or someone gives a response like, oh, okay, so this is what I should be thinking. So I'm in my last coursework, my last class of coursework that ends in 2 weeks. After that 2 weeks, I'm full-blown to do my research. I will mute.
Great. Thank you very much, Priscilla. And hopefully we can talk a little bit more about your research as well as Elena's, hopefully throughout the course of today's discussion. And hello, Sukhani. Welcome. Would you like the microphone? Do you have a mic today? Would you like to introduce yourself? If you do, please let me know in the chat box. If you could type a yes. If you have a mic and would like to introduce yourself today, I'd be more than happy to give you the microphone. Before I start talking about some of the issues that I have, maybe we can talk a little bit more about some of your research interest. And Priscilla, you mentioned that you were interested in technology. Who were your target participants, and who are you focusing on as far as your research? Are you focusing on children or adults?
Okay, that's a good question. I don't want to use children primarily because, and maybe other places too, but here in the United States, you have to do so much preparation for anyone under 18. So I don't want to have to go that route and get permissions and then confirm, yada, yada, yada. So I'm looking at people that are 18 and above. Then I'm toying with the idea that I wanted people who were beginners in learning conversational English, intermediate, and then those that were advanced. Again, everyone that's over 18. I didn't necessarily want to look in the school systems here in the United States. I was hoping that I could do everything that I needed to do online. I wanted to get my participants from online. My challenge for that is just looking at the classes that I do on WizIQ, the consistency is not there. People are not showing up for free, even when I try to teach what they're interested in. So I'm not sure. I'm looking for someone to help me understand how I can get a group of individuals who can actually be consistent and building that rapport and helping me. I will mute.
Great, Elena, and I apologize, when you were talking about your research, I was still kind of fumbling around at my end, so I didn't get all of what you were doing as far as your research. Would you mind maybe talking a little bit more about who your participants are, and if you have any suggestions for Priscilla as far as getting a group committed to participate in her study? And your mic is activated, Elena. All you have to do is deactivate it at the top right hand corner of your screen. I'll go ahead and leave your mics open and let you mute and activate as you wish. So if you have any comments for Priscilla, and or if you'd like to talk a little bit more about your own research as far as your target participants, etc. Okay, it looks like we're experiencing a slight delay. I know we had some audio problems at the beginning of this session with Elena. So I'm not sure, Elena, if you can hear me, but if you'd like to activate your mic and talk a little bit more about your research, feel free to go right ahead. Okay, Sujani. And we have some other people here, ambitious. Please let me know if you have a microphone today. If you do, just type a yes in the chat box if you have a microphone today, and I'll be more than happy to give you the microphone. We don't have a lot of people today, so we'll be able to take advantage of listening, hopefully, to all of us. And so, okay, ambitious, I'll let you. For some reason, though, your audio is grayed out, so I'm not able to activate your microphone. So you might want to go ahead and do an audio check, which you can do so by clicking on the down arrow at the top right-hand corner of your screen, right next to the microphone. And you can go through a series of checks there to check your audio. Unfortunately, I'm not able to activate your microphone. It says that your audio device is not installed. So you may want to double check that, or you can either refresh or exit the session and come back. Okay, anyone else who would like to take the mic? Okay, we have, just feel free to let me know and I'll be more than happy to give you the mic. Meanwhile, Elena, if you'd like to add any comments to Priscilla as far as getting a group committed to participate in a study online, that certainly would be a challenge, I would think. And or if you'd like to talk a little bit more about your own research as far as your target participants, maybe the purpose of your study. Again, I apologize because I didn't catch all of your research when you were describing it at the beginning of the session.
Once you start preparing to do the field work, the difficulties of finding a good target. Group, so that the results are measurable, written reading, write.
Okay, it looks like we lost Elena, and what I did catch sounded very helpful, but unfortunately I was not able to get all of it. Hopefully, Priscilla, you can hear me okay. Let me know if the audio is coming through okay. Great. One thing that, and I'm not sure if this is an option, this is just something that came to mind is maybe finding, if possible, a group that you have there locally that's willing to participate online.
Can you hear me?
Oh, okay, Elena. Yes, we hear you now. We had some problems. You cutting out, but if you'd like to start up again. Unfortunately, we didn't get much of what you said.
I'm sorry, I don't
before.
know if it is the connection or the plugin or whatever. Anyway, my suggestion is, have you considered trying to find students whose levels of, on the one hand, writing, reading, and generally level of English is in huge discrepancy to their speaking skills, because that's often the case not only on Quiz IQ, but well, even here I have to work with students who have extensive vocabulary, who can write fairly well, who have no problem reading quite complicated academic texts, but they have problems when they have to speak in all sorts of situations, even every day. And then you can effectively use standard tests. Well, what I'm planning to use is the Oxford University test, and measure their progress over time. Something like that, I think, would be a working solution. As to my research, basically, broadly speaking, it's designing and evaluating distributed learning environments with a focus on how the more conservative, traditional Moodle, Mahara sort of configurations can be enhanced with the use of social media, Web 2, Web 3 tools and stuff like that. And again, my target group is going to be EFL students. I have no particular group in mind because it's very difficult to find students, even to teach them for free. Okay, that's from me. I hope it was better this time.
Yes, much better. Thank you, Elena. Priscilla, I don't know. I was talking a little bit about maybe the possibility of you finding a group there locally that might be willing to participate in your study online, and where you would have that contact, you would have that face-to-face contact for them to hopefully be more willing to participate, or you would at least have more confidence in knowing that you have personal contact, or maybe even know these students. You may have a relationship with them already that might give you the confidence and the contact that you need with them to make sure that they do participate in the study, or at least give them some incentive for them to participate. But I'm not sure if that's a possibility, where you have some group there locally or some students that you can find that you can maybe have that face-to-face contact beforehand, so you know from the beginning whether or not if they're willing to participate in your study or not. Because I would imagine just trying to find students online, like we've been talking about, and have them participate might be difficult if you don't know them already. So that was just something that came to mind. I'm not sure if that's helpful, but that did come to mind.
Elena, you were talking. Go ahead.
Elena, you were talking.
Thank you, Ben.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that's helpful. But here's a question that I'd like to just throw out and see what you think. I have not decided whether it could be conversational English, but it could be conversation in any language. And I'm going to meet with one of the people at the local universities here. They do teach different languages in college. So I was wondering, should I just not focus on conversational English, but conversational language in whatever language? I almost imagine that the difficulty would be the same problems if you're learning Spanish, or if you're learning German, or if you're learning French, or in what I was interested in was English. You still have the same type of barriers. I may get more people that are trying to learn a language, conversational language, more so than conversational English. I hope that makes sense. It makes sense to me.
Elena, would you like to comment? Or anyone else? Okay, if anyone would like to chime in, feel free to do so. Yeah, Priscilla, I think it would be equally as interesting. I think focusing on other languages. I'm assuming that you are throwing that out because you feel that there might be a better group, or a group that you might be willing to participate that are not English language learners. Is that the reason why you're throwing that out, or is there another specific reason why you would like to choose a different language as your focus?
I was saying that. I was saying that because at the university you have to have so many credit hours in a foreign language, and because I'm here in America, the foreign language would not be English. It would be the American students trying to digest and understand another language. So I could possibly explore the difficulties that they may interact with, or encounter rather. But there again, the problem is the technology. I wanted to use technology as the catalyst for improving. So maybe next week, hopefully I can meet with someone this week or very early next week, that when you have your next session, I can say, well, this is what I did, or this is what I found, what do you think, and maybe we can talk more. So for now, I'll just listen to you. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I think certainly that'd be a possibility. As far as measuring the progress, I know that Lena talked about the Oxford test, which brings up questions that I have. But how, Priscilla, were you thinking as far as measuring their progress, as far as conversational language? I'm assuming that you would need to be more involved, I guess, with the teacher, unless you were familiar with the foreign language, to be able to measure that. I'm assuming also you're going to be using some standardized test, or perhaps not, maybe another another test.
Would test.
So yeah, I would test. Elena, were you? Oh, go ahead, Priscilla.
Or Elena, not sure who.
It was Priscilla.
Or Elena, not sure who.
It was just to say that I really don't know. When you're doing the coursework, I have just been consumed with just doing the coursework and trying to take a look and do various things with, okay, which direction am I going? And I'm sure you all found this to be true, or at least it's very true for me. A lot of the textbook information is like, this is not helping me with my research, but you still have it to do, and I just would have to just stop thinking about research and make sure that I could get my responses in on time, because my entire class coursework for me is all online. I'm with the University of Phoenix. So it's not a lot of free time, in my opinion. I may spend a lot of time on WizIQ, but it's not enough time to do something else. So I'm not spending that much time on WizIQ, but it seems like I am, but it's just a snatch here and a snatch there. So I think I'm only able to really focus on that after this next 3 weeks, on what my work is actually going to be. So I don't know what direction I'm going or how. I'm just confused, but it will get done. I'll mute.
Okay, great, thank you, Priscilla. And going back a little bit, talking about these tests, an Oxford test or IELTS, I'm assuming then both of you are looking at more of a quantitative research design, or are you... Okay, can you hear me, Priscilla? Let me know if the audio is coming through. Okay, so mixed method, Priscilla, you're looking at both qual and quant. Elena, are you also looking at a mixed method research? Okay. Okay, so yeah, a case study. All right. Very good. Yeah, the research that I'm looking at also is a mix, but more on the qualitative side, not so much on the quantitative. And but yeah, we can discuss that. I'm not sure if you want, either one of you want to talk a little bit more specifically about your research design, or we can move on to something else. Yeah, that's the thing with the measurement, right? And if that's why I ask if you were considering just the test itself as far as your measurement, as far as progress goes, or if you were also going to incorporate other means, whether they're more qualitative or quantitative. Okay, Priscilla, great. Okay, very good. So this Wiz IQ session actually is the first session where they've implemented the poll option. So I'm going to try to experiment and see if this works. Yeah, I think you're right, Elena. So let me know if you see. I just opened up the poll list. So if you could let me know if you see a poll list in front of your screen. I'm going to go ahead and publish this. And here's a couple of questions here. Just wanted to see. I know it's just the two of us, but I really wanted an excuse to test out the poll. So the first question that I have are, what are some of the problems you face when teaching English as a foreign language? And we've talked a little bit about that already, but you have some options, and if you scroll down you should have about 6 different options to choose from. So let me know first of all if you can see the poll, and if you're able to participate, if you can enter your selection. I'll give you just, okay, Priscilla. Okay. So both of you chose option 6, integrating the 4 skills. So let's open up the discussion there about what problems do you face, and this could be pertaining to your research or just your experience. What problems do you face integrating the 4 skills, and what have you done to try to deal with that challenge?
I'll just speak about what my challenges are with the 4 skills, being speaking, listening, reading, and writing. To eliminate 2 of those, the writing, and I forget what it is. But anyway, my focus really is just conversational English, speaking, not grammar. I don't focus on grammar. If you get it right, you get it right. If you get it wrong, you get it wrong. Because for me, conversational English is just being able to make sense out of what you've read. Can you tell me in a manner that I understand what you want me to know about what you just read? There is not a lot of writing that we do. If I do writing, it will be primarily select a response from a box. So I've given you the correct answer choices. So there's no writing and there's no grammar. Those were the 2 that did not apply for me. Some of the students they are beginner readers, but they won't speak out. They will tell you, and they have command of a few words by evidence of being able to say, I am shy. So getting them to overcome that barrier has been a challenge for me. And then the conversation, I can tell that some can read very, very well, but they don't read as if I believe they understand what they read because of the punctuation. They don't necessarily stop or pause or put emphasis on a particular word or sentence structure. They just read, and I don't believe that they're comprehending what they're reading. If I didn't know what I was reading, I don't know that it would make sense to me by listening to them. So if that's a challenge, that would be what I would say. I will mute.
Okay, Elena, go ahead. Sure, Elena, go right ahead.
Because I'm both a learner and a teacher, and before I became a teacher, I was a victim of the system of learning English as a foreign language myself. And since when I started, which was a long time ago, several fad approaches in language teaching came and went away, some for good. I think that in many ways those people like me who are not native speakers, who are not learning the language in a natural situation, living in a native speaker country, sooner or later face some deficiency in one or more skills. For example, those who were taught in the more traditional 70s, 80s, grammar translation, old style methods, we definitely have problems with speaking and communication on a larger scale. Compared to the victims of the communicative approach, which were my first students when I started teaching in the 90s, they tend to be more fluent, but they lack really basic understanding of grammar. Their writing competence is lacking in many cases, and it seems like you have to compromise something for another thing, and it's difficult to get it working right, unless there is a huge investment of time and effort on both the teacher side and the student side. Task-based, okay, all fine, but again, when you work within the time constraints of a certain course, which are limited by the courseware you have to use, again you come to sacrifice something. So basically that prompted my interest in distributed learning environments, which offer autonomy to the students to work on areas where they feel weak, to do unsupervised learning, and guided but unsupervised, whose results can be measured, and of course the internet now offers opportunities which we didn't have when we started learning foreign languages way back. Sorry, I hogged the mic again. Hello, Teresi, nice to see you.
No problem, Lena. That's great. Great to hear your perspective. Teresi, let me know if you have the microphone, and I'll be more than happy to give you the mic. And feel free to jump in. Would you like? Okay, I'll go ahead and give you the mic, and let us know. You can introduce yourself and add anything else that we've been talking about. So I'll go ahead and activate your microphone.
Hi. I am Teresi, and I live in Texas. And Elena introduced me to this particular class. Hello, Priscilla. I also know you. Benjamin, it's good to meet you. I've heard very good things from Elena about you. So I'm really interested. I was interested in what Elena was saying, and I really appreciated what she was saying about integrating the internet with the with teaching English as a second language. I sound like I speak it as a second language, but I don't. I live in Texas, and I've lived here all my life. But I am working with a lot of students who are struggling with finding the words and thinking in English. And I think also that Elena was talking about the commitment that it takes from not just the teacher but also from the students. And sometimes it's difficult to know what their commitment is, and I sometimes I feel as a native speaker that I'm a little intimidating because perhaps I go too fast or I use language that they are not familiar with, and so they are not comfortable or they're a little afraid to say, I don't understand what you're saying. I think I think it's the same way with me learning a different language. I want to pronounce it correctly. I want to use the right words. I want to use the right grammar. But sometimes I'm afraid to say I don't know how to say that. So that's all I would add for right now, since I just came in. But I'm excited to meet you all. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, Teresi. It's great to have you here. Feel free to mute your mic, as I'll keep your mic open at my end, but and you can come in and out and add to the discussion as you wish. But I would ask Teresi if you could please mute your microphone.
Okay.
Great. Thank you very much. So yeah, several points here that are coming up that I think have some questions about, really, that as far as the students, Priscilla was talking about grammar, when to talk about grammar and when to introduce grammar, and it's been my experience sometimes students really want that grammar explanation, and we can talk about whether we teach covert or overtly, but it seems that there are times, I think, where students really want that grammar explanation, and I'm not sure how you all handle that at that time. If they ask for a grammar explanation, if you go into explicit description as to what the grammar is, or if you continue to treat that covertly, but that is an issue that I've faced whenever I teach courses and when I teach classes with students here in an English as a foreign language context, that there are always those students that are really wanting the full explanation of the grammar. But one thing I wanted to talk about was, and we've talked a little bit about task-based learning, that one thing that we're working a lot in our university is this notion of performance tasks, and this comes from Wiggins and McTighe's book, Understanding by Design. I'm not sure if anyone's familiar with that book or with their notion of performance task. Okay, and Elena talked about sometimes it's difficult to have the time to develop those. How do you go about making sure that there's time enough to incorporate performance tasks in your class? How does that go? How do you go about doing that? In their book, the authors talk about the importance of backward design as far as designing performance tasks first, or the way in which you're going to assess your students first, and having that set first before you begin your instruction or your planning. So that's a question I would like to throw out, is how do you address this problem of incorporating the 4 skills through some sort of tasks, and I'll use the word performance task, to give the students the opportunities to practice the integration of these 4 skills in a more quote-unquote authentic environment or authentic learning. So I'd like to throw that out. If someone would like to respond, how you go about using performance tasks or some sort of activity where students can use the language, the 4 skills, in an authentic way. Okay, I'm not sure, Elena, if you'd like to discuss, if you have any ideas or perspective on how to plan and incorporate performance tasks in your class? Okay, so Elena's talking about scaffolding. And how would you go about doing that? As far as, are you referring to scaffolding instruction or scaffolding assessment? Or both? And what would that look like? And how do you go about facilitating their development through, based on what they know and what they can achieve with your assistance or without your assistance? Or Priscilla, or anyone else, if you have any comments, the question is, how do you plan, how do you incorporate some form of performance task that allow your students to integrate the 4 skills in a way that's relevant and meaningful for them, that's authentic, something that they would see in real life, or something that they would experience in real life? How do you bring that into the EFL or ESL?
And is there time, is there room in the curriculum to do that? Is there room in the curriculum to do that?
Okay, this is Priscilla. One of the things that I would say that I do in the classes that I've done on Riz IQ, I don't teach, I am a computer teacher by craft in the public school system, so this is me exploring just a different area altogether from what I actually teach. But in the classroom, I do have a very diverse population of students, but because I teach computer skills, everything that we do primarily is on the computer. So now to answer the question more specifically, one of the things that I do would be to have lots of pictures, and in this case, today we were doing Pinocchio, which to some extent may seem like a very elementary story, but it could be a very deep and ingrained story depending upon what type of students you're teaching. But anyway, as you go along, you've got these variety of words, and one word would be a tree, where most people know exactly what a tree is, but not necessarily know what the word tree. If I get up and turn that timer off, I would have to move completely from this computer. It will stop in a minute. So I have a picture of a tree, and one of the things that we could actually do is talk about the various things that you could do with a tree. Use it for paper. This is not how Pinocchio went, but you're developing vocabulary, things that you do with the tree. Then there's a picture of a nose. Everyone knows obviously what a nose is when they see it. Then vocabulary that is centered around, vocabulary words, other words that might associate itself with that. Then for me, when we go into the story, we have used some of the words that are actually in the picture, so your comprehension, in my opinion, is somewhat formulated or scaffolded by, okay, I understand this. When I see nose, this is going to take place, this is going to take place. So as the student is reading, it enhances their ability to read and comprehend what they're doing at the same time. So we're getting the reading, the speaking, and the listening. Again, for me, the writing is going to come in a box. All of the words that they need are going to be in a box. You just need to choose the right word. If the word is a tree, hopefully you would not choose the nose. That would be one way that I'm checking several things all at once. I'm checking to see, can you read? I'm checking to see, can you comprehend what you have read by using the appropriate terms instead of nose. This is what Pinocchio uses to smell with. Yes, he uses his nose, but he also smells with his nose. I think I get too lengthy too, so I'll mute.
Okay, great. Thank you, Priscilla. Elena, go ahead.
Indeed, or shall we just go on, or maybe we can leave this question for the next session, because it's very difficult to be brief about it. Well, I can give two practical examples. So when I was teaching teacher trainees, or like your students, Benjamin, pre-service teachers, The problem was not so much with the knowledge of the level of their English. They were very confident, C1s, let me think, 6.57 on the IELTS scale, but their speaking skills always were lacking and lagging behind. So I was teaching content-based courses like British Studies, Introduction to British Culture, British Society, and what I did in setting performance tasks which would challenge them, or which would let them have some personal input, and mostly they were individual or collaborative projects. In terms of the scaffolding required, we would have covered a certain topic in class. Maybe it would be youth problems, maybe politics, whatever, and then they would go on a sort of a web quest, gather information, discuss it on the forum boards, bring up some more difficult issues to discuss in class. We would always set apart like 5 minutes for chit-chat regarding ongoing project work, and then there would be a presentation. They were absolutely free to choose the medium of their presentation, the form, the format. It didn't have to be PowerPoint. It could be anything. It could be a poster. It could be a TV show. It could be really anything. And I think what worked in this case is that they had enough time to work on their weak areas, catch up on that, and then when they chose the form to express themselves, they could do so according to their own preferences. I mean, it would be too dry theory to talk about different learning styles, but yeah, you could really tell who is a visual learner, who is auditory, who is kinesthetic, who is a combination, and how they try to reach out and communicate quite a difficult concept to their peers in a foreign language. It's really quite exciting. So yeah, I think well, in that case it was blended learning, not online. I think performance based tasks are the best, especially with higher level students, because they only need a gentle push and then they do all the work, especially if they're interested. Okay, again hogging the mic. Do you discuss the performance as a, yeah, if that's the question for me, yes, of course, because they have to present a sort of a project proposal before they start work, and mostly it's not for my benefit, it's for their benefit, so that they decide what exactly they want to focus on. Sometimes they go off on tangents and get frustrated because they think they don't seem to be succeeding in performing their work. Okay, I'm off the mic, sorry.
No problem, Elena. That's great. Both of you, everyone is really adding a lot to the discussion here, and really the purpose of this TESOL Talk is to give all of you really the opportunity to share your thoughts and opinions, your experiences with others, so we can all learn from each other. I think we'll go ahead and conclude today's session, and we will schedule another one here in a couple of weeks. You can look in WizIQ for that course. And so hopefully we can meet again. The time has changed a little bit, so if the time is, if you have a preference for a time, feel free to contact me in WizIQ and I'll try to accommodate. I would like to share a link, and I'll go ahead and put this into the chat box, and this is a Deagle. If anyone uses Deagle, I use a, yes, absolutely, this is a group that I created, and the intention is to basically share sites or information from the web that we can use as talking points for our sessions here. I like the idea of a message board. Perhaps we can create a wiki or some space online where we can summarize what we've talked about and perhaps include things that we can talk about in the future. But I want to thank everyone for your participation. Thanks for those who are watching this recording. And again, the idea with these TESOL talks are to basically open it up to discussion and hear from you, hear from the attendees, the teachers, the EFL or ESL teachers who are working out in the field, who are doing research, and really to give you a space or a place to discuss your thoughts and opinions. So thank you very much, Elena, Priscilla, and thank everyone for your participation. And I look forward to seeing you in the future in some online space somewhere. Thanks again. Have a good evening or a good day, depending on where you are. And bye for now.